We felt with Commusoft, they knew how it worked and they built the system to work with trades rather than everybody. So I'm Keith Richards, the owner of Premier Heating Surrey Limited. The company does heating and plumbing installation and maintenance. We work for domestic customers and also commercial customers. The company was founded in 1963 by my father. He retired 15-20 years ago, and we've been carrying on ever since. So the company sort of split into two sections. We got the maintenance side and the installation side. We tend to do more maintenance work than installation work. So we've got 9 maintenance engineers and 3 installers and a couple of apprentices. And then we've got 5 office staff. I guess our greatest benefit that we can offer over small or micro companies is the back office. So having a good CRM system is a must when you have multiple engineers. It creates a better customer experience. They're kept up to date with what's going on, and should they need to call us for a problem, then it's quite easy for the office staff to look into the background history of what's done. Originally we were using ServiceMax, but it was very basic. It was just storing customer information. There was no automation to it. We would print off a letter and send out to a customer, or a lot of it was mainly done by telephone calls. So then we tried building a dedicated system with another company, but it started up being really costly. So we stitched that, and then we saw an advert for Commusoft. It looked like what we wanted, so we had a demo, trialed it. We felt with Commusoft, they knew how it worked and they built the system to work with trades rather than everybody. We find that Commusoft are always bringing out new things. They're always evolving and keeping up to date with what's going on within the industry and other trades. So the problems we were having before we started using Commusoft, we were finding that engineers were having to ring in a lot more, and we were having to ring the engineers a lot more for updates, how they're getting on. There was a lot of office work involved in it. But since using Commusoft, now the engineers use the mobile app. Everything is updated once they finish the job, so we can see it live on the Commusoft system. So we can see how the engineers are getting on throughout the day. Also, if they need any parts or a further recall is required. And we can then pass on gas safety certificates to agencies and landlords really quickly. I think the main reason why we started looking for a system was that there was just a lot of paperwork involved with what we were doing, and as I say, customers were ringing up to find out what was happening, so we would then have to ring the engineer and then ring the customer back. Now it's all automated, so it's sort of instant. We can see what's going on. I think for the office team, it's made their job easier because they have less work to do. So the engineers are creating invoices at the end of a job, which is then automatically uploaded to the Commusoft system. So whereas before, the office team were having to manually create invoices and then either posting them out or emailing them, whereas now that's done by the engineer and then it automatically goes into the system. I think for engineers, they get information a lot quicker. So if a job was cancelled or postponed, then they would see on their mobile phone what had happened, so we wouldn't have to ring them. Another benefit an engineer has is that when they log into a customer's data on the app, they can see all the background history. So they might go to a breakdown, and then they could log in there and see the past problems that other engineers have had to deal with. And also on there's information where things are, like stopcocks or filters and motorised valves and things like that. If an engineer beforehand wanted to know what had been done, they would have to ring the office and find out who had been there, what they had done, and so on. Another good thing is also for me as a business owner, you've got the reporting screen where it shows you a lot of information on how the company is performing over a few months, and that's for the money side, the profit and loss side, and also jobs for recalls. And the reporting side of it is really good for managing the company, really, just to see how everyone is performing, how the company is performing, to make sure we've got enough work coming in. One of the things I like about Commusoft is that it grows with the company. So as we've grown over the years, we've managed to keep the same number of office staff. We've reduced the admin so we can get more engineers but still keep the sort of overheads at a similar cost. I think with Commusoft it just helps streamline the office back end. We can use the system to grow different aspects of the company. So going forward, I don't see a problem with keeping with Commusoft.